What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming and game number 2 here between TyLooJim and Loner. This time we're on the map Xel'Naga Caverns. Loner spawning in the upper right-hand spawn location as our blue Terran player, and then down over here in the lower left we've got TyLooJim as the red Protoss. So yes, game 2 here between Loner and TyLooJim. Game number 1 going to Loner. You know, we saw just a very nice engagement for him, landing some clutch EMPs there, and he actually pushed out just before TyLooJim had his 3-3 upgrades finished, and that certainly helped him quite significantly. And what is going on? TyLooJim with a little bit of shenanigans here, moving out with his probe before his first pylon. That is indicative of a proxy pylon and some type of harass, and let's take a look at what he's planning. Yes, it is. Pylon on the low ground, gateway on the high ground is what we're assuming. We will be seeing a proxy gateway inside of Loner's main base, and this will of course allow TyLooJim to stream in some zealots and be a huge pain in the butt. We are going to have to see how Loner is able to defend against this. That pylon now finished. We'll be dropping that 11 gateway, trying to get out in time. I'm not sure though. Oh no. I think Loner scouted that out. I believe he may have. He saw that I'm really worried that he's about to scout out that gateway. He saw that probe was not coming straight. He still has no idea. He's not even checking it, is he? He is not checking. He's coming out the second rack, so I think he's just making that assumption. Rather than going down to check right now, he's just going to be coming out with that second barracks at the moment. Taking a look back over here, TyLooJim also coming out with that pylon inside of his main. We'll be trying to harass here as he's spotting that second racks. Loner really worried about this early aggression. That gateway getting very close to finish. Loner still hasn't actually scouted out the gateway, but again, he saw the fact that the probe didn't come up the ramp. It is actually moving from this direction. That's a dead giveaway as to what's going on. So that Zealot right now being chrono boosted out. We have got it finished. He knows it's coming here. Bunker coming on through. Loner knows exactly what to expect. Again, without scouting the gateway, he just knew the fact that probe came from over here was pretty indicative as to what was coming. TyLooJim trying to get some SCV harass to delay the building of this stuff, but it's not going to happen. First Zealot is in play right now. You're going to be able to chase down that Marine and stop him from doing much damage. Now the biggest thing right now is that Loner really needs to try to finish this bunker, but I don't know if it's going to happen. We've got a second and third Marine getting very close to getting out here. Zealots moving forward to try to engage those SCVs, actually forcing a few off the line. We got another SCV moving out to try to complete that bunker. If that bunker gets up, then this is going to be a whole heck of a lot more difficult here for TyLooJim as he's trying to keep it this harass. The bunker is just about to finish. Zealots doing what they can. Another one going to the main resource line, killing off so many SCVs. The bunker finished, but the Zealots are still going to go to town here and try to do as much damage as possible to this resource line. Taking a quick look, 7 kills already. That is number 8. Trying to get a few more, but no, the Zealots are gone. And now, as a result, I do not expect this gateway to last too much longer. Now, he will be keeping streaming up these Zealots here and trying to kill off as many SCVs as he can, because he knows 100% certain, he's 100% certain that he's losing this gateway and pylon. There's no question about that. In fact, right now, Loner going straight for that pylon. Zealot's popping out, and he's just going back home, trying to come with that second Zealot, although I don't expect him to get that in time. Might as well just cancel that. There you go. So losing that second Zealot. Now the major concern here for TyLooJim is, hey, I'm going to get hit at some point with a counterattack. Now we have got that Cybernex core researching that warp gate research. I do expect a Stalker almost immediately as soon as he can afford some. There we go. Stalker's coming out. That is being chrono boosted out. The reason I expect that, of course, is because the Stalker will be so very strong against what Loner has early on, and that is, of course, just these Marines. Stalker actually does a phenomenal job against that Loner, trying to get back in the game economically. He did take quite a beating there, losing 9 SCVs in the early stage of the game. We take a look here at the income tab. TyLooJim quite a bit ahead. And there you go. Now he will be taking some losses himself, especially in losing that gateway there. You can in fact and see overall he's behind in terms of resources lost, but TyLooJim once more did pretty significant damage there to the economy of Loner. And I certainly don't think he's out of the game by any stretch of the imagination. He's got 2 gateways right now. Going to be coming out with a bunch of Stalkers early on. We may even see a little bit of Stalker aggression once he gets 1 to 2 of those. He may try to push out and try to soften up those Marines to do a little bit of damage wherever possible. 1 refinery finally coming out here for Loner. He does want to try to get some Vespene gas, so hopefully get some Marauders to defend, and eventually, of course, tech his way right on up. But that's going to be actually a long time coming before we see any starports, because he does need to make sure that he has got enough to be able to defend himself. Now, TyLooJim coming out with an expansion of his own. He's still just sitting on these 2 gateways. Will be continuing to come out with some early game units, actually moving into the Sentry right now. Here comes that Stalker pressure, though. We got one at the front of the base there. There's number 2 and 3, and all of them going to be going straight to the front. And once more, trying to soften up Loner's army. He has just got Marines, and this is actually a major concern against this amount of Stalkers. Now, it's not going to be an outright kill here for TyLooJim, but he could certainly do some damage, and that's actually, I'm a little bit perplexed as to why he's actually pulling all the way back now, because even though he might be a little outgunned in terms of the number of Marines that Loner has, he could still use the micro, use that speed plus that range advantage over the Marine to soften up, if not kill a few of those. But actually, just heading on back, we'll be trying to kill off this SCV. Should have no problem. There he goes, gets it. And so right now, Loner does not know about that expansion. He's got no idea, in fact, of anything that TyLooJim is doing, as he has not gotten out a single scout. Robotics coming out right now. There's a scan inside of the main. With that, able to scout out the fact that there is a robotics coming out through, also an additional gateway. But still doesn't know about that expansion yet, so that is something that he's going to have to get some intel on sometime soon, hopefully. We'll be moving down with his expansion there, at the same time moving down with his bio to be able to defend himself. Actually getting out another Rax right now, still not working his way up into factory tech, getting pretty close to supply block, so hopefully we see another depot sometime soon, as he will be churning out these units with that, especially with that reactor there on that Rax, and continuing to come out with some Marauders, I expect here. Stimpack research also making its way on through. So TyLooJim immediately looking to get some 1-1 upgrades here, given the fact that he's coming out those 2 forges. That's what we can expect. So there it is, weapons level 1, and here comes that ground armor level 1. Getting some very, very early game upgrades, trying to get that nice beefy force. Now in terms of overall army, relatively small at the moment, but again, he's just going to be relying on those upgrades, and then probably planning a push with that, because he could do some pretty significant damage if he got 1-1 and then pushed out, even with just a small force. We'll be also coming out with some Immortals to try to counteract any of the Marauders that we may be seeing Loner have here, as it does appear like we are going to be seeing a transition here into more Marauders, actually coming out with a Reaper as well. Loner does want to get some more scouting intel without actually having to waste any more scans. Obviously, when you waste a scan, that is 1 less mule that you have. And certainly being in the position where he did start off behind economically, Loner wants to make sure that he can save up those energy for those mules as opposed to those scans. So there we go, Reaper Scout moving out. TyLooJim did see that there in his minimap, so he should be able to respond without much issue at all. We have 1 pylon actually getting placed down over there for a little bit of scouting as well. And here come a few more gateways. Now these are going to be timed to finish a little bit before these upgrades do finish, and with that, again, he's going to be able to mass up a pretty hefty force early on, and hopefully with that, he'll be able to push on out into quite a bit of damage to his opponent Loner. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen anyways. Reaper moving up, scouting the army, will be then pulling up into the main. That is a very, very vulnerable pylon, as it is powering all of these buildings right here. So that would have been hilarious if he could have taken that out. Although, obviously, it takes that Reaper a little bit of time to actually do that. And you get a little trapped there by the probes, able to get 1 kill, but being chased down right now by all these probes. Needs to be a little careful. Some more kills coming down there from that Reaper, doing what he can. Finally gets taken out as the Stalker moves down these gateways, and now finished being turned into warp gates. Everyone but that one. TyLooJim, what are you doing here, buddy? Make that a warp gate, please, so you can continue along your merry way and try to do some damage. And here it comes, 2-2 upgrades, in fact. TyLooJim, he's so heavily focused on those upgrades. We've got 0-0 at the moment for Loner, just getting his weapons level 1, and here comes the push here from TyLooJim. And wow, very, very interesting indeed that he decided to get those upgrades and push at the same time. Bio of Loner trying to do what he can. He's got quite a bit. There's a Guardian Shield, some nice force fields. Though he doesn't have a lot of Zealots, he's splitting up the army. Look at all these bio units back here, not doing any damage to a bulk of the forces here of TyLooJim. And he was able to actually just tear through so much of Loner's army, and that's a little bit concerning right now for Loner as TyLooJim continues up his push. Coming out with some more bunkers over here, one over here, one over here. And here comes the engagement right now. TyLooJim pushing forward. Watch those Immortals just tear through those bunkers so very quick. Some more Stalkers getting warped in. We're going to attempt to drop another proxy pylon. That gets blocked there by some SCVs. Some more force field action. Immortals trying to micro back. They do want to focus fire down those Marauders. And this is not looking good at all for Loner, as he just lost a bunch of SCVs there. Well, so far, 35 SCVs lost all game there for Loner. Loner calling the GG, realizing he is just a bit too far behind. After doing some damage with his opening proxy gateway, TyLooJim worked his way up to 1-1 weapons and armor, and then pushed out against Loner with a nice Guardian Shield and beautiful placement of force field walls. Was able to split up Loner's army and continue to push, especially with that upgraded advantage. TyLooJim mopped up what Loner had and eventually forced the GG. Alright guys, that was game number 2 here between TyLooJim and Loner. We'll be moving on to game 3 in just a moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.